Hello, and welcome to our conversation about connected car. Hello. So most people today, at least the layman, see connected car as basically an IoT connection to the cloud, right? And it does exist today in about half the vehicles that are being sold, new vehicles coming in. So when we are looking at connected car, what's your view of connected car and what it actually means going forward?
Yeah, I think that with the connected car, it certainly is that connectivity from the world to the car and car to the person, but it's also the connectivity around the car too. On average, I think in the late 90s, it's about 3 ECUs per car. And today it's about 120 or more ECUs in a car. And those are smart ECUs. Those things have to talk to one another. And so that means higher data rates going around the car, being aware of the other domains. That means CAN, not only CAN, but CAN FD and Ethernet and gigabit Ethernet at that. So it's really more than just wireless connectivity in the car.
Yeah, and there's some serious demands that are coming from for example, the electrification of the vehicle, right? The ADAS systems that are coming into that vehicle as well. You're putting sensors that just weren't there before. Now you're putting them throughout. On the infotainment side in the body, all of a sudden now cameras are talking to glass and replacing mirrors, right? And full display mirrors or side mirrors, right? So yeah, it becomes more and more of a challenge for those designers as they're trying to put that vehicle together. And you mentioned vehicle to the person, and I think that's something that originally a lot of auto manufacturers were really pushing against, but honestly today are outnumbered. There's just so many of those devices out there, and it's becoming such a ubiquitous part of a person that it becomes more of a feature that they need to take on. So any thoughts on that vehicle to person side?
So I think that the cars today want to connect to you, and that means your phone today, right? So imagine a world where you just put your phones in your purse or back pocket, and as you approach the car welcomes you, and then you just unlock the car, and the seats are adjusted to you, and everything is configured well, and you just start the car without anything else. So that kind of user experience is something that you could expect from the connection between the car and the phone.
Yeah, and from someone who is always carrying heavy things in 2 hands, even kicked open is a little bit of an issue, right? So that sounds actually very compelling to me. But if I'm leaving that UPS store or that box store and I've got something heavy in my hands, I want to make sure that just doesn't open for anybody in there.
Right, and the 2 key points for that is that the car needs to know where you are, right? So localization, and with that, we enable a lot of localization algorithm like that for customers. So localization, knowing exactly and accurately where you are, and the security, of course. Knowing that you're approaching the car and you are where you say you are. So we invest a lot in that. We think that security is the main issue here.
And that localization is a very tough challenge. Right, that's something where you have a lot of reflective energy throughout it. It's a very noisy environment, a parking lot. There's a lot of cell phones, right, trying to communicate. So that's actually something that is a big paradigm step in trying to get something like a phone as key going, right?
Right.
Yeah. Very, very, very cool. So if we're looking then at like level 3 autonomy, right, and you'll hear that one of the key elements of that is this thing called V2. Right, V to everything, and that term is X, right? But I think it's become one of those things that we know needs to happen, but I think it's still in its infancy on how it can be deployed. Can you comment on that?
Yeah, I'm super excited for V2X. Vehicle to everything. It's not only vehicle to vehicle, which is a very popular term, a hot term right now. It's vehicle to infrastructure. It's vehicle to pedestrian or person, vehicle to grid. It's vehicle, vehicle to everything. And that is going to become more prevalent over time once we get to level 3 autonomy, as you mentioned. It's going to give a predictive feature to the analytical feature, reactive feature that autonomous driving is giving. It's looking at that blind left turn and predicting that a car is actually already stopped there, because the sensors just can't predict in that way.
Right.
It's also, right now, it's actually being implemented in vehicle-to-network. Over-the-air updates is a huge benefit for OEMs, saving a lot of money to not have to bring cars into dealerships.
So the infrastructure connects to the car, right?
Yeah.
And enable that.
Absolutely, and that is a major, right? I mean, that's something that even as a user, you don't have to deal with the dealer. You just have to have it sit in your garage
Right.
and update, right? That is a big feature. So when we hear about V2X and the whole how it's going to be done, I think the major debate is literally on that connectivity, right? The 5G versus the DSRC
Yeah.
technology. Any thoughts on that?
It is a huge debate, not only in the United States, but around the world. In EMEA and Asia, there's legislation going through all sorts of governments around the world debating what's better. Is it going to be DSRC? Is it going to be 5G? And I don't think we have a clear answer. I think OEMs are really ready to just prepare for either technology. And it's really it's anyone's guess right now.
And I kind of see that as well as from the government entities as well. I think they're almost saying we just want to see how either or of them work, right? And I think we see the same thing on ADAS. There's not a mandate that you have to have X of this sensor or Y of this sensor. It's just let's see how to make this system work in the ecosystem that's
And make it
available, right?
safer
Yeah.
for everyone.
And we're in a worldwide economy. Right, and so you can't just have one region pick DSRC, another region pick 5G. Those vehicles are going to be shipped worldwide, right?
Yeah.
So
For one OEM, pick one type. They've got to be able to work with one another.
precisely, and it does have to be a vehicle-to-vehicle communication. It's not a name-brand vehicle, name-brand, right? So yeah, that is a major one. And one of the areas that I think is very interesting, and I think a huge challenge is security, right? And when you're securing to the cloud, you really have one connection that's basically through an LTE modem, and you can secure that through common methods, gateways or routers. But when you start going into a V2X technology where you're connecting at times to 10, 20 different entities very quickly and then getting off, that poses another big challenge as well, right?
Yeah, it's going to be crazy when you're driving down the street and you've got that light post connecting to your car, connecting to that vehicle, connecting to that person. Security is going to be at the utmost importance. And, having processors like ours that enable a foundation to build a secure system is going to be very important. And not only that, but the different domains that it's talking to, having that security within the car. Do you have thoughts too?
Yeah, so I think when you're talking about the phone connecting to the car, it's very important to keep the communication going and identifying the different people that want to connect the car and control that. That would be, yeah.
Yeah, and you have a lot of desires for that isolation, right? If you're into ride sharing, for example, or have that capability where there's a monetary value associated with it, for those to be adopted in the market, that security is very important.
Right, and it all begins with the phone connects to the car. So in wireless, BLE is the technology that enables that.
I think one of the areas, talking back onto the mobile devices, is, in a lot of vehicles today, if you have a family of 4, there's a pretty good shot there's 4 cell phones or 4 tablets or 4 something that could be absolutely connected, to that vehicle. So I think that's a very interesting dynamic now. How are our customers trying to realize that or utilize what's available to realize that?
So I think that is absolutely necessary because you have multiple devices and you want to, even if we're talking about pedestrians, right, you want to know who's in the vicinity of the car. So multiple connection and using a technology that fits for that is important.
And again, security.
Yes,
Yes, a
of
big
course.
need on that. It's a very interesting topic, and it's one I know that it's still in its infancy, and I think this is a longer discussion to come. I certainly appreciate your viewpoint on it and the time today. If you have any questions or are looking for design resources for connected car, please go to the link below or to ti.com/connected car.